I think at one point or another, we've all had intrusive thoughts. It could be something really small or maybe it's something really big. And I think it's so important to categorize them as all the same. There's no worse intrusive thought, there's no less moral intrusive thought. And that's extremely important when you're trying to think about, why you're having these thoughts, right? And they can come out at random times. They're never going to be predictable. And it's important to understand that it's completely normal, right? There's no sort of measurement of an intrusive thought that makes you a bad person or makes you a good person, right? I think the fact that you're aware that it is an intrusive thought is already telling that you're normal. And I think one way I've overcome this is by think of it as a passing cloud, something that is always going to be there, but when you have it, just let it pass. Don't try to overthink it. Don't try to overanalyze why, right? I feel like our brain has a way of telling us when to overthink things and when to not. And in this case, you just can't overthink it because it's only going to make it worse. It's also important to understand that it's not going to go away. The more you try to prevent it, the more you try to solve it, it's just going to worsen it because it just makes you overthink. It can be difficult sometimes. It can be difficult to embrace something that is sort of mentally draining, right? We want to try to erase it from our mind as if it never happened. But once you realize that it's completely normal and that it's going to happen again and that you just have to live with it is when you're sort of free from it. I want to give an example of, what I mean by letting the weight of the thought affect. Let's say you fill your cup up all the way full and you stick your arm straight out and you hold it. The more you hold it, even though it's the same weight, the heavier it starts to feel. It starts affecting your fingers first, then it starts affecting your wrist, then it starts affecting your arm, and then as soon as you know it, your entire body feels like it's giving out because you've put all this weight holding on to something instead of letting it go. And the more you hold on to this thought, the more you hold on to whatever's bothering you, the heavier it gets, even though it's the same weight. It's important to understand that all the thoughts, whether they're negative or positive, relatively, they're the same weight in the example I said. We all think in our brain that each of these thoughts are different from one another and they mean different things. But at the end of the day, when you look around and you have these thoughts, whether you had the thought or not, nothing changes. It's all happening in your head. And it's important to realize that. The problem is when you start letting these intrusive thoughts affect your regular life. Maybe it prevents you from doing certain things or it allows you to sort of adjust your lifestyle around this thought. I think that's so dangerous because it prohibits your ability to grow. And my biggest advice to that is to just let it exist. Because again, the more you hold on to it, the heavier it'll get. So let it exist and let it just pass by you. Continue to do the same thing you were going to do before you had that thought. So if you're someone who, encountered a similar problem like this, I'd love to hear your story. I'd love to hear your thoughts and share them down in the comments below. And to just sort of show that you're not alone. I think that's so great about, sharing your thoughts like this online is being able to, garner a community where everyone feels like they're being heard. So I made this video to sort of represent that. And I feel like this is a common issue that everyone has that maybe they're too afraid to speak on it. But I wanted to do that just to set an example of being able to express yourself. But yeah, thanks for watching. And if you have any thoughts, make sure to share them below.